Hello everyone, my name is Molly Balint and I am a business coach and Instagram expert, and Dana asked me if I would share a little bit of a tutorial and some tips on creating a really effective Instagram profile. And so I'm going to just be sharing a few things today that I think are important, especially important when you're not only a local business but also a farm, and things that you really need to think about. And so before I do, I just want to kind of talk about why this is so important and why having a really putting some strategy behind your Instagram profile is so important. To me, your Instagram profile really serves like your business card. When you are on Instagram and you are leaving comments, or you are engaging, or you are interacting anywhere on the platform, you are bringing people to your profile. And so when you do that, it is essentially like passing out your business card. You are going around Instagram and passing out your business card with those types of interactions. And so you really want it to represent you, and you want to have it be something that is going to convert those people who come to your profile into followers, and then from followers into loyal customers. So what I want to do today is just talk a little bit about your Instagram profile, what the parts of your profile are, and just sort of walk through some strategy for each of them, so that you have some ideas of things that you can do to sort of help your person find you and help you convert them to customers. So the first part of your Instagram profile, there are two parts to your name of your profile. Instagram makes this really confusing. You have a username and you have a name. The username is basically like your handle on Instagram. So mine is at molly.balint. And it is something that is going to show up if somebody searches for you. It is something that if you gave somebody the link to your Instagram account, or you said we are at whatever, this is what you would use for that. The other part of your Instagram profile is your name. This is the bold text that is underneath your profile picture. And one of the things that's so important about this part of Instagram is you can really use this line to show up in search when people are coming to Instagram and looking for you, or looking for a business that has what you offer. So it's really important to use this line strategically. A lot of times what I see people do is they will put the exact same thing in their username and in their name. And you want to put some keywords here that are important for people to find you. So if you were if you were a local farmer's market, or if you had grass-fed beef or something that you wanted to offer your client, you would want your name line to read in a way that it's what people would be searching for. So maybe you would have your farm name, or maybe you would just have what those search terms would be. So, Harford County grass-fed beef, or whatever your town is, or your county, or however people might be looking for you, you want those search terms to be in this line of your profile. This is a very common mistake that I see people make on their profile, is that they're missing out on this opportunity to show up in search results so that people can find you. The other mistake people make, especially if they're a local business, is they don't put the location. We don't want to say flower farmer. We don't want to say grass-fed beef. We want to tell people what our location is, so that when people are searching for something near them, or in their town, county, whatever it might be, you are going to show up in those search results. One thing you need to know about this part of your Instagram profile, though, that's really important, it's that you can only change this name line, so the part that's in bold underneath your profile picture, you can only change this twice every 14 days. So you want to be very careful that you aren't testing things to see how they look, or you don't have a misspelling, because whatever that second changes you make, you will be locked into that one. So just make sure you note that. If you're going to test out some ideas, see what fits, see what looks good, make sure you're doing it in another app, or I usually do it in the Notes app on my phone, and sort of figure out exactly what I want to say, and then I copy and paste it into my profile. So those are two really important things. Your username is important. You want it to be simple. You want it to be something that people can, I always say it should pass the podcast test, where if you were on a podcast talking about your farm, that somebody would be able to remember it if they were driving in their car listening. If you have lots of underscores and dots and dashes and that sort of thing, it's going to be hard for someone to remember. So as simple as possible. And then your name is that bold text underneath. Put keywords in there, put things that somebody coming to Instagram searching for what you have, what would they be searching for? That's something that should go in your name. The next thing is your profile photo. This is another one where I see a lot of people not really taking advantage of this space. Ideally, I'd love to see a photo of faces here. If you are a family farm, a family photo. If you are the person behind the business, it should be your photo. If not, if you are putting in the logo for your farm, or using a business logo, make sure it is a logo that translates to a circle. A lot of times when we are designing logos, we're creating them with our websites in mind, so they might be a horizontal logo, and when you put that logo into this little tiny circle, it gets shrunk way down, so it's hard to read, it's hard to see, and it doesn't stand out. The most important thing to remember about your logo is that people are going to be seeing it on their phones the majority of the time, and the majority of the time they're going to be seeing it in a comment section. They're going to be seeing it in their notifications, and so it's shrunk down even smaller. So you really want to have a profile photo that is clear, that has a simple background, that draws people in and gets their attention. And if it's a logo, you want to make sure it's very simple. Do a scaled back, simple version of your logo. Make sure it's not overly detailed, and make sure it translates well to that circle. One of the things that is super common is that people show, I see this a lot of times with like flower farmers, or, people put a picture of vegetables, or they put a picture of flowers, or they put a landscape photo. Those kinds of photos are great, but they belong in your feed. They don't belong in a profile photo. You want to stand out. People want to connect with you, with who you are, and you want your profile to draw them in. And a photo of something without people, or a photo that isn't your logo, really isn't going to do that. So that's something else to consider that's really important. Next, I want to look at a few other parts of your bio and give you some more tips for really taking advantage of this space and being strategic with what goes in this. The next thing I want to talk about is your Instagram bio. This is one of the hardest parts of your Instagram profile. It's one of the hardest things to do. You don't get a lot of characters here, so it can be really hard to feel like, how do you describe your business, and how do you, tell people about you in so much, in so little space. I think you have 150 characters to write and sum it all up and tell everyone everything they need to know. A couple of things that you should think about as you're writing your bio. You really want to speak to your customer. You want to answer the question for them, what's in it for me? Like, what am I going to get by following you? Do you have something for me that I'm going to be interested in, so that I'm along for the ride? Like, I want to know what's in it for me. We're very selfish when it comes to our social media and who we follow. We need that interest factor. We want to connect with people. So that's one thing to think about. I think it's also very important to include something in your bio about what sets you apart. What is different about you, your operation, your practices? Maybe you're a fourth generation farmer. What is it about you that is unique and special and sets you apart? And then the last thing that's really important to include is your location. I can't tell you how many times I see people who are local businesses who do not include their location. This is vital and this is key. Do not make this mistake. You want to put your location so that it shows up in search, so that someone who finds your content in their feed knows where you're located, and if they can come and make a purchase with you. And it helps the algorithm sort of classify your content and know who to serve it up to. So make sure you include your location. Your Instagram bio, it used to be that Instagram could really only, if you searched for someone, it used to be that you'd only show up if you had certain words in your name and your username. But Instagram is getting better about reading all kinds of parts of your profile. It can read your bio. It can pick up on keywords in your bio, in your content, in your posts. So it is important that you are using those important keywords like your location, like what your products are. Make sure you're including those things in your bio. Another thing that I think is really important in your bio is make it easy to read. Instagram oftentimes won't give you like line breaks, or you can't sort of organize the layout of your bio. I tell people to do it in their notes app. Set it up, design it the way you want, use a few emojis if that helps you, or if you can use emojis to represent words if you're running out of characters, and then copy and paste that into your bio and into the bio space, and then that way you can sort of design it and make it easy to read and something that people can just glance at and get an idea of what you're about. The last two things that I want to tell you about are your link. You have space here to send people to somewhere important, whether you want them to be signing up for your newsletter and your email list, whether you have a website that you want to send them to. Make sure your links are up to date. Make sure that you don't use any link shorteners, so like a bit.ly link or something that takes a long link and shrinks it into a simpler link. People are going to be nervous about clicking on something if they don't understand where it's taking them. So you really want to use your website address or some of the common links like link in bio tools like Linktree. Milkshake is another one called Links, Links. Make sure that this is up to date. Check it every month at the beginning of the month. Give yourself a reminder to check your profile, check your links, make sure it's current. And ideally, you also want to include some call to action in your bio. So, you want to tell people why they should click on their link. If they sign up for your newsletter, what are they going to get from it? If they click on the link, what are they going to be taken to? Is it a place where they can shop, order, sign up for your CSA? What is the link and why should they click on it? And then the last part of your profile, which I'm realizing from the screenshot here isn't showing, but we'll talk about it anyway. That is your highlights. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because your highlights really are an extension of your profile. Those are the little round circles where you can save Instagram stories that normally would expire in 24 hours. You can save them on your profile. And while some people look at highlights, some people don't, they can still serve a purpose in helping to sort of be an extension of things that you offer. So maybe you want to do a highlight during peach season, and maybe you want to do a highlight with recipes, and maybe you want to do a highlight that's all about the donkeys that live on your farm or something like that. You can really use this space to share more about you, to put things that maybe didn't fit in your profile or things that you want to highlight that are just a part of your story. Even if people aren't clicking on them, even just seeing the titles of the highlights and the kinds of categories you have there can help add to your bio and help sort of fill it out and give the bigger picture of you, your farm, the kinds of things that you care about, and the kinds of things that you're doing. So that is just like one more space that you can add to that really makes your account feel current and fresh and full, so that you're taking advantage of every little space you possibly can. So I know that a lot of times our Instagram profile is something that we just sort of knock out when we join Instagram and we create our accounts. But really, if your profile isn't set up that in a way that really reflects you, really speaks to your person, and that it's not, you want it to be strategic so that people are searching for you, you show up in their search results, you have those location important key parts of your profile so that you are attracting your customer, your potential client, You want to move people from just being a follower into a loyal customer. So these things are really important so that your profile will attract the right people. Good luck. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Shoot me a DM. I'm at Molly Balint. I love the Four Farmers movement and what you're doing. I'm a huge fan of Dana. And I'm a Four Farmers champion. So feel free to reach out. I am happy to help, and I wish you the best of luck.